Okay, so for this lab assignment, we're going to be building two web pages, and we're going to build them using the portable version of Notepad++. I went ahead and provided that for you under the lab assignment under the links here. It'll be the zip file that's located here. That's 4.4 megabytes. Um, the instructions are here as well. We'll go over that in a little bit. Let's go ahead and set the Notepad++ up. The reason I'm giving you the portable version is that we can't install anything in the computers in the lab, so we can use this instead to generate our web pages. Okay, so here I'm using Firefox to do this assignment. I'm pretty familiar with it. I'm comfortable using it, so we'll be testing our web pages, and we'll be doing it through Firefox because that's what's on the lab computers. Before I download anything, though, I'm going to go to Open Menu, and then I'm going to go to Options, and then here under Downloads, I want it to ask me where to save the files. The reason is it's very important where we save everything, so that way we can keep track of it. By default, it saves in the Downloads folder, but it's good to have your own to actually designate where you want it exactly. It'll make things easier for us. So from here on Downloads, just go ahead and click Ask. Always ask me where to save the files. Then hit OK. Okay, so now let's go ahead and download the Notepad++, this NPP file. So go ahead and click there, and you'll get this message here. If this is checked, open with, and then whatever application you have to extract zip folders, we're going to change that to save file. Okay, so then hit OK. Then I'm going to choose to save it in the Documents folder. So everything we'll do will be in the Documents folder. So let's go ahead and save this folder there. Then hit OK. Also, we can go ahead and download all this information now and then set up our website, the folder at least. So let's go ahead and download this as well. For the PDF, we may want to just right click, save link as, and then that way it'll ask us where we want to put it. Let's put everything in the Documents folder. Okay, so here, let's go ahead and create a new folder. This is where we're going to store all our website information. So go to Folder here. Let's call it website underscore your name. This will make it easier for me to grade because I'm going to download all your files and then view them through the browser, since I can't grade it through Blackboard. So just putting your name would make it a lot easier when I download it, so I know exactly whose website it is. Okay, so now that we have that folder, go ahead and double click on it, save the PDF there, and we're going to need some pictures for our website. So I went ahead and provided you some default ones. We'll use these for now, but when you're going to finish, go ahead and change them out to pictures that are more appropriate for yourself, because this website's going to be mostly about you, so you can get pretty creative with it. Okay, so just right click, save link as, and then we'll save the pictures in the website folder, website Nicholas Hinojosa. So if that folder already opened up, we'll save it there. Same thing, we'll do that for everything else as well. Just go ahead and save them all there. Okay, now we can go ahead and minimize this. and then go ahead and open up your documents folder, and now we'll need to extract the zip folder here. Yours might just say zip. I have a program called WinRAR installed on my machine, but your machines don't have that. So what you're going to do is right click here on the zip folder, and then you're going to click on extract here, right? And then you should have a folder that appeared called Unicode. So you're going to double click that, and then here's the hyperlink, the application file, the .exe, to load Notepad++. So go ahead and double click that. If you get a message, just hit run. And it should look something like this. Right? So here, this is a standard text editor. We can start typing information here if we need to. We can also create multiple pages, and we have tabs. So this is a really neat text editor that's free to use, and we're using a portable version of it, so we didn't have to install it on the system. Okay, so let's go ahead and set up our web pages. So if you have a new page already set here, we can just right click this, and then we're going to go to Save As, and then you're going to go to your Documents folder, or Libraries, Documents, and then under Website here, go ahead and double click that. We'll save our web page in this folder. Everything will be in the website folder, right? Or our web pages at least. So let's go ahead and name the first web page. We'll call it Index. And then here under Save As type, we don't want it as regular text. We want it as HTML. So you can see all the different formats that you can save under. So we'll want hypertext markup language. So go ahead and save that there. So the extension's already been placed. We'll save that file there. Now we have a web page. Let's go ahead and create another page now, which will be the About page, and that way we can copy and paste some of the markup language. So then File, Save As, or I'm sorry, File, New. So then we have a new page now. File, Save As, and here are some of the sample pictures we downloaded earlier. Now let's create one called About or we can just do About and then look for HTML text. Right? You could also just put the extension in, and it would save automatically. But we'll do it this way, and then hit save. All right, so now we have our two web pages. If we go back to our folder, Documents folder, Website, this one here, we'll have our two web pages. We'll have the PDF for the assignment and our 4 pictures. So that's what your website folder should look like right now. So we can open this up and look at the instructions. Alright, so we'll see some of the requirements. We'll start with the home page first. The home page first should have a link that links to the other web page we created earlier. It'll link to the About page. The second link will be an email link to send yourself an email. The third link is an absolute hyperlink that will take you to the computer science website. And the fourth link should point to this handout, which is why we saved it in the folder to begin with. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and minimize the instructions for now. Minimize the documents folder. Now make sure here that you're under the index file. So you just click on it there. This is index right here. Right? So I'm going to change the font size to make it a little easier to see and read. So to do that, you're going to go under let's see, settings, style configurator. Then you're going to click on default style, and then here under font size I'm going to change it to something really big like 24, and now it's a little easier to see for us and for yourselves. Okay, and then once you're done with that, go ahead and save and close, and then now you'll see that our font is a lot bigger, easier to see. Okay, so when we start creating a web page, every web page has a standard layout. So we're going to input that first, set that up. We're going to test it to make sure everything is working properly, and then we'll actually start building the web page itself. Right, so every web page starts with the HTML tags. Right, so you just do less than HTML. And then when I type a tag, I always type its closing tag right afterwards, so that way I never forget to close the tags, right? Because everything tag you type has to be closed. Everything in between these two tags will be our web page, right? So what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm just going to space it out, give myself some room to work, and then this should be at the beginning, and then this should be at the end. Right. Then the next part of an HTML page is going to be the head. So head, then less than head. Things that go in the head are scripts such as JavaScript, or if we're going to be adding styling to our web page through CSS, through cascading style sheets, then that will go in the head. Right, so we can also space this out, give us a little bit of room to work with. Then the thing after the head is going to be the body. Right, it's like a human being. You start with the head, you end with the body. Right, so you do body, and all the text that's going to appear on our web page will be located in the body section. Right, so you type the body, and then you close it. And then just give yourself some room there. So right, so we can everything that's going to go here will be the text in our web page. Here we don't need the extra room, so we can just go ahead and do that. All right, so we have room for stuff in the head. We have stuff for room in the body. So let's go ahead and practice. We'll start with a header. Okay, so in the body we'll do H1 and then close your H1, right? And then everything we type here will be the header for our web page, right? So H1 and then close the H1. So it'll be something like hello students, or you know what, we could do something more appropriate like welcome to my, or welcome to Nicholas Hinojosa's website. Something like that. Okay, so then we can go ahead and we're going to right click here. We're going to save this page. Right, so now it's saved. Now we can preview it and see it to make sure that it's working. There's several ways of going about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the index.html here, or actually we can run, let's see, okay, so we'll go to run, and then we'll launch it in Firefox. So then Firefox should open up, and then we'll see that it's in the documents folder inside website_Nicholas and index.html. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to insert an image after this. Here you can use an image of yourself. For now, I'm just going to use the default image I placed in the folder that we downloaded earlier for picture 1. Alright, so we can go to minimize this out. Then after H1, we can put an image. So the image tag is img, and then it has an attribute. That attribute is source, so src equals, and then the name of your picture. So I like to type the double quote, and then I type the double quote again. We'll put the URL for the image in a few minutes, so we could do something like that as a placeholder, right? So I typed double quote, placeholder, £, and then double quote again. And the image is a self-closing tag, so instead of typing like the way we typed here, 2 tags, we're just going to type 1, but you're just going to put a / right before the end, and then a greater than symbol. Right, so here we need to put the location of the image, and since we saved it in the same folder, all we need to do is replace the # with picture 1, and then you need to put the file extension for the image. That way it knows that it's a picture. So the file extension is .jpeg, or I'm sorry, .jpg. Right? Don't put JPEG. I notice a lot of students do that. That's not the file extension for a picture. It's .jpg. Right? So that's how it should look. Then just right click save for index. Then we can go back to our website here. Then what you're going to do is you're going to right click and then refresh, or you can press the refresh button here, right? And then the image will show up. We can make changes to this image as well in case it's too big. You can modify the width. I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes. Right? Okay, so then we'll move on. Okay, so the next thing we need to do to meet the requirements of our assignment is we need to create 4 hyperlinks. Right? And they're going to go on the bottom here. So let's go ahead and work on that. Alright, so just minimize this. And then what you can do is maybe space this out a little bit. I'm going to use an HTML5 tag called nav for navigation. So then just type nav, nav, and then close the nav. Alright, so it should look like that. Then in between these 2 tags we'll have our hyperlinks. Alright, so you can space that out a little bit. Also too, what you can do to make this a little easier to read, you can tab some of this stuff over if you want to. That way you know where everything is located just by looking at it. Alright, so that should be pretty good. So now we have our H1, our image, our nav, everything that's in the website itself is tabbed over one time. Okay, so now in the nav, we can type some hyperlinks. We can tab these over as well. So the tag for a hyperlink is going to be the anchor. So it's less than a. The attribute for a hyperlink is the href for hyperlink reference. So href equals, and then double quote, we'll do a pound, and then close the double quote, and then greater than, and then we need to close the anchor tag, so that's going to be less than /a greater than, and everything that we type in between the anchor will be our hyperlink. Right, so the first hyperlink was about me. So what this hyperlink will do is it'll take us to this page here, the about HTML page, which is blank at the moment, but that's what this hyperlink is for, is to take us there. Okay, we need 3 more tags, or 3 more hyperlinks, so we can just go ahead and copy this, copy, and then just tab over, paste, that we have 4 of them, paste those again, and then we need to set the URLs and the appropriate text, right? It's just so it has an example so you can see that where they go. Okay, so for the first hyperlink, the href will replace the pound sign or the hashtag, whatever, however you call it. We'll replace it with the name of the web page we want it to go to. So we'll do about.html. Right. So when we click about me, the text, it will take us to that page. Okay, so the next one is going to be to email us. Right. So we will change the about me text in black. We'll change it to contact me. Right. And then here for the href, we need to use mail to colon, and then everything after the colon will be the email address. So I'm going to put my email address here. Right, so you'll put your email address there as well, so that way when I click contact me, it'll automatically open up your email program. So if you're doing it in the lab computers, it should bring up Outlook right away. So we'll test that once we have everything set up. The next thing we'll need is going to be a absolute reference that will take us to the computer science website at UTPA. Computer science website. If you don't know the URL for the website, we can get that from Firefox, right? So we can just open up Firefox real quick, open a new tab, do a Google search, okay, and then just type computer science UTPA, hit search, click on the web page, my internet's been a little slow lately. Just go ahead and get this entire URL and go ahead and copy it. You can go ahead and minimize Firefox, and then here for the pound, replace it with that information here and just paste it. Right. So then now when we click on it, it'll take us to this URL here. Then the last thing we need is to take us to the actual assignment link itself, or the assignment that we downloaded in PDF form. Right. So here we'll put something like assignment PDF. And then for this pound sign, we need to know the exact file name. To check that, let's go to our documents folder. Right, and here is the assignment name. We can either try to type this all out, or what I like to do is I just like to click on the PDF itself, right click, rename, and then you can just copy that text there. And we know the extension is an Adobe Acrobat document, so we know it's in PDF form. So that'll be the file extension. So minimize this, go to the pound sign, replace it with the name of the assignment, and then just type .pdf. Right, so this is how your link should look. Let me check that one. Okay. Then right click, save. Go back to Firefox. Go to we can close this. And then here's our website. We can refresh it, and then now we should have some hyperlinks. Right, so if I click About Me, it's going to take us to a blank page because we haven't put anything there yet. Go back. We can click Contact Me here. It should open up Outlook. You probably see this. If you haven't set up your Outlook, that's fine. And just hit yes, cancel that. We'll click the computer science website. And it should take us to the computer science web page. Go back, and then finally assignment PDF. We click this, and the PDF should open up in the browser because it has the Adobe Acrobat plugin. Okay, so from here we can hit the back button, go back to our web page. Now we can use a little bit of styling, CSS, so we can make this website a little nicer, right? We want to center everything and maybe change the background color. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. Minimize this out. We have our web page here. We have our nav. We have our image. In the head section, that's where we're going to put our styling information for CSS, right? So that way we can color the page, align the text. Maybe if the picture's too big, we can resize it also with CSS. This is just the structure of the page that goes in the body, right? There's no styling information here about the font you use or anything like that. That's separate, right? So in the head, we'll create a style tag, and then close the style tag. Right, so and everything in between the styles here will be the styling information for the entire page. Right, so we can go ahead and tab over once. So the first element in our web page that we want to apply a style to will be the body tag. Right, so everything in the body we want to align it in the center. So to do that, we need to first type body, right? So that's the one we're going to modify. And then the curly brace, and then press enter twice, and then the opposite curly brace. So we can close this block here. Right? So everything in this block will be applied to the body. Right? So then we can tab over here, and then we can type something like text dash align. Then we will do a colon, and then this is the text alignment that we're going to apply to the body, and we can either do it left, right, or we can do center. So we want center. And then whenever you type a CSS statement, you need to terminate it with a semicolon, similar to when we did the programming lab, right? And we can add another CSS attribute to the body. Let's say we want to change the background color. So just press enter, tab over, make sure everything is nice and aligned, and then we'll do background dash color. And here you can either input the hexadecimal number for each color, or you can type out a name of a color, and if that color exists, it will change the color of the website. And you can use any color you want. You can play around with it. I'm just going to use tan. I could type brown also, or black. That would work, but black might make the text harder to see, so then you would need to change the font color. Right? We can do that also. So let's see how this looks. right? So just right click, save, go to your web page, refresh. Right now everything is in the center, and I have a tan background. Right, so I could change this to maybe blue, save it, go back to our web page, refresh, and then now it's blue, but that kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, so I won't use that. You can use different shades of blue also. Um, Minimize that. I think there's also aqua. File, save, refresh. Right, so then there's that's a little nicer, a little easier on the eyes, right? But you can use any color you want. The next thing we want to do is adjust maybe the size of this image here. It's a little too big. So we can go here. Now we need to apply styling to the image tag. So every image that is on our website will have these properties, right? So we do image, open the curly brace, enter twice, close the curly brace, and then now we can set the attributes for image. Some of the attributes include width, height, and margin, right? So we'll do width, and then you can pick some number. You can pick a percentage based on the entire size of the screen. So we'll do something like, let's say 100 px for 100 pixels, semicolon. Then the next thing we can do is the height, colon. The picture seems to be a perfect square, so we can use the same value. And then we can set a margin all around the image, and then maybe we'll do 20 pixels, right? Once you're done with that, save it, go back to your web page, refresh, right? And then the image size is reduced. Now it looks a little too small. So then we could just minimize this, maybe make it 300, save it, check our website, right? And so that looks a little bit better, right? And then there's a margin all around this that's going to be 20 pixels. You can adjust that as well. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is we need to start our second page. Right, so we click here about me, there's nothing there, it's blank. Right, so let's at least get some information in there to begin with. Okay, so minimize this, and the layout for a web page is pretty much the same. We start with HTML, we start with head, we have a style, we have body. So a lot of this we can just simply copy and paste it, right? The only thing we'll modify in page 2 will be the body itself. Right, so we won't have some of these links. We'll have different links in to different things, right? Like for instance, we don't want a link in the about.html page to the same page, right? We would want it to go back to index instead, things like that. So we'll take care of that in page 2. So for here, just go ahead and select everything for now, copy it, go to about.html. It's blank, paste everything in there. We can save this, or actually let's get rid of everything in the body. Now we will type some different stuff in there, so delete it. Right, so everything we'll need to add to page 2 will go in here. This styling will be the same, so that way our pages are consistent with each other. Right, so let's save. Now let's save it. Go to this guy here. Refresh. If you click About Me, it should take you to the About page, and it's blank right now because we don't have anything in there. But we're going to take care of that right now. Okay, so let's look over the requirements for page 2. So let's go back to our documents folder, the website folder. Double click on the Lab 6 assignment, and then Let's go and look at this. A page that includes some personal information about yourself, your name, your hobbies, your projects for the future. So we'll have 3 sections for that. This page should have a couple bookmarks at the top and bottom with the corresponding links to them to facilitate navigation throughout the document. This page should also contain a picture of you and an image that you think is fitting of your home page. And then you, of course, can add extra pictures and colors and anything else you would like. But I'm just going to show you the basics. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. Alright, so we have our body. Let's go ahead and create 3 headers. So H1, and then close the H1, and then we'll copy this 2 more times. Okay. We'll have one called About Me, so you can talk a little bit about yourself here in this section, and maybe include a picture of yourself in this section. The next one will be, let's see, about your hobbies, my hobbies. And then the third one can be my future projects. Okay, so now we should have 3 sections, or 3 headings. So if we save this, go back to your website, refresh, now we have these 3 sections here, right? And in between each of these sections we'll need to put some information, maybe some text, a picture. Okay, so let's go back here. So after the first heading, we can put some space in between these things like this. Right, so we're going to put some information here, put some information there, and then after this one. So what I like to do when I'm going to type a paragraph, I like to use the paragraph tag because it formats everything nice and neat. So we can do that with P, and then close P, and then everything you type here will be your paragraph. So let's say something like, I am a UTPA student and I'm working on earning my master's degree in information technology. And if for some reason if you don't like scrolling too much, you can also enable word wrap. So you just go to View, Word Wrap, and then it kind of brings everything back. So that way you don't have to be using the horizontal scroll bar. So then that's the paragraph there. We can put different paragraphs after each heading. Right, this is a description of each thing. Alright, but then we can change this out, of course, to something more appropriate. On my spare time, I enjoy playing video games and drawing. Alright, so you can put any other information you want there. Future projects. For this, I would like to program and build my own online version of Connect 4. Okay, so we can see how this looks. Go ahead and save it. Go back to your website, Firefox, refresh. You see, and then now we have some text underneath here. The last thing we can put in each section can be some pictures. So let's do that. Okay, so after the paragraph in About Me, then we will need an image tag. So image src, the source attribute, open the double quotes, a pound, close the quote, and then it's a self-closing tag, so / greater than. So we can copy this guy here, maybe put him, we need to put him after the paragraph in section 2 here, and then finally after this paragraph in the 3rd section. Okay, so then now we need the URLs for each of the images. So we could do something like, we have 4 pictures, so we'll do picture2.jpg. We can copy this part here, copy, paste, and then this would be picture 3, and then this one here is going to be picture 4. So now we can save it, make sure everything is working. Go back here and then refresh. All right, so then now we have our images. Okay, so the last things we'll need for this page is going to be 3 links. One link to take you to the top of the page from the bottom of the page here. So we'll have a link here that says top that will throw you all the way to the top here. We'll have one link here that's called bottom that will take you to the bottom of the page, and then one to take us back to the home page. All right, so let's go ahead and do those. So I'll minimize this. Okay, so the hyperlink to take us to the bottom of the page will be on top, right? So we'll put it right after the body and before the first header. All right, so we'll call that href, and then double quote, hashtag double quote, greater than, then close your tag, and then we'll call this bottom. Okay. We'll worry about the URLs in a few minutes. Okay, so then now we also need a link to take us to the home page, the index page. So we'll paste that there. And then home page. And then here we know the href is going to be our name of our page is index.html, so that's what we're going to name this guy here, index.html. Right, so when we click on home page, it should take us back to the index. Right, and then we need the last link here to take us to the top of the page. So we can just copy this again, paste it down right before the closing tag for the body, after the last image, right? And then this one we're going to call top. Okay, so in order to reference the top of the page, we can use the anchor to do that. But in order for me to reference it, I need to label each of these anchors, so that way we can reference them in the href. So I'm going to start with the top one here. So I'm going to add a new attribute. That attribute is going to be called ID. Actually, we can add it to the end of this here. So that's going to be ID equals, and then double quote, pound, double quote, right? So it's closed. So I can label this. I can label this hyperlink. I can assign it an ID. So this one is going to be called top. right? Because this is the top of the page. So the idea of this anchor is top. So that means that the href for the bottom link here will be top, right? Because this, as soon as I click top, it's going to look for something, an element on this page that has an ID of TOP, of top. So that's this hyperlink here, right? So then I'm going to do the same thing for top, but this time this anchor is the bottom, right? So ID equals double quote bottom, close the quote, right? So now this anchor here, its name, its ID is bottom. So that means this href here needs to take me to the bottom of the page. Okay, so let's try that out. And then we're just going to refresh it. We can put a little bit of space here because right now it's kind of confusing. It's like bottom homepage, or we need some space between that. We'll take care of that right now. But if I click here, it'll take me to the bottom of the page. And then this one will take me to the top of the page. Okay, so also the other issue is at the top, this hyperlink's kind of off to the side a little bit. So we can fix that. Okay, we can probably fix it by putting a horizontal rule, a line after each section. To do that, okay, so this is the first section here. So we can put after this image here, we can put something like HR / and then greater than. And then after this section here, we could do HR / something like that. And then after this last picture here, we'll put something like this. Okay. Also, we need these two things were too close together. So we could put just simply a space in between. We could also type a pipe in between the two. Okay. So then now save it. And then refresh. All right, so now we got lines separating everything. And then we have a space between these two, bottom, top, homepage. And then we click here, about me, takes you back to it. Okay, so let's inspect our code one more time. Make sure everything looks okay. In case you got a little bit confused, we have our links here for bottom and top. I'm sorry, for bottom, then for the home page. Then we have an H1, we have a paragraph, we have an image, and then we end with a horizontal rule, right? Then the same pattern here, and then the same pattern on the bottom. Right, but sometimes when we look at some of these tags, and it can get very confusing. What you can do for somebody viewing your source code, you can put comments in there. Right, so to do a comment, we can put it after the anchors. We'll do something like less than, and then an exclamation mark, and some lines like this, and then you can type anything you want here just to label it. It's just a comment. It's not actually going to be read by the browser. only a human reader would see these comments here. And actually this is section 1. Right, and the nice thing about Notepad++ is that it has syntax highlighting, so it colors everything for you. Right, so this is section 1. Section 1 ends after the horizontal rule, after this, after the line. So then now we have section 2. And then finally, after the last horizontal rule, we have section 3. Right, so that way we know where one section ends and the next one begins. Right, so that way it's a little easier to read everything. So once you're finished, go ahead and save this out. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to close this. We're done with Notepad. We're done with the assignment. You can check everything one more time, make sure everything looks okay. And then we're going to need to zip up our files and then send them back to Blackboard so we can get our assignment graded. So minimize this. Go to your Documents folder. Go to Documents. Remember we called it website underscore and our name. So all you're going to do is you're going to right click. You're going to right click on this file. And you're going to go to Send to Compress Zip folder. Right, so now we have a zip file. Yours might have a different icon if you don't have WinRAR installed. This zip file is the one we need to send to Blackboard. Right, so then we go back to Blackboard, go under Assignments, go back to Building Web Pages, and then browse my computer. Go to your Documents folder. This is the zip file we want. Yeah, so make sure it's the one that's zipped, not the one that's unzipped. Then go ahead and open. Right, and it's labeled here. You will see it's website underscore your name dot zip. Once you're finished, go ahead and submit. So everything will be there.